Well, from Wisconsin to the White House, Republican Party Chairman Reince Priebus will have a front row seat to history as President Trump's chief of staff. And joining us live right now from Trump Tower in New York City is the kid who grew up in Kenosha, Reince Priebus. Chairman Priebus, thank you very much for joining us. Want to get right to the cabinet appointments and a possible Wisconsin connection. A week ago, President-elect Trump met with Milwaukee County Sheriff David Clark at Trump Tower. Let me put you on the spot. Is Sheriff Clark going to be the next Secretary of Homeland Security?
Well, we haven't decided that yet, Charles, and thank you for having me on. It's always an honor to be on TMJ and happy to be with you all. I think Sheriff Clark is extremely talented. We all know that in Milwaukee. He's a special guy and done an incredible job there. And he's definitely high on the list and someone that we definitely want to be involved in the administration at some level. So
you do expect Sheriff Clark somehow to be part of the Trump administration?
I think that he's going to have opportunities, and I don't want to start exploring every one of them with you all, but certainly he's very talented. I think he's going to be offered things to be helpful, and it'll be up to him as to whether or not he wants to participate in that.
Well, let me ask you, Chairman Priebus, have you had any conversations with Governor Walker about your first 100 days in office, the agenda that you might have? And as you know, Governor Walker here had a bold and some would say controversial start to his 2010 office when he was in office, when he talked about collective bargaining, going after collective bargaining with state employees. Do you see something on a federal level for that issue and maybe a national right-to-work law?
Well, we'd love to have Scott's help at every level, and we do talk to Governor Walker quite often. I personally talk to Governor Walker all the time, and so you know that he's a close friend of mine, and besides him just being super talented and smart with government, he's also just a good friend, and so it's only a natural person for me to talk to, and fortunate to have great people in Wisconsin all over. I mean, it is we all need to know, I mean, Wisconsin is a special place politically. You know, even the Democratic Party there is quite good too. So I mean, it's but
what about on the issue of
politics? And it just so happens we're on a roll.
What about the issue of collective bargaining, a national right-to-work law? Are those things that you are looking at in those first 100 days?
You know, we haven't talked about that piece yet. I mean, right now we're looking at tax reform, making sure that we pay lower taxes, you keep more money, we expand the base, we have fair trade with China and Mexico. But also things like Obamacare. I mean, we all know that we need to get rid of it, but we also need to have something in its place. We don't want to leave anyone behind, and so those are the two main priorities. And then obviously getting our foothold across the world and globe and combating ISIS. And there's a lot of dangerous things out there. So those are the things we're talking about right now. As far as collective bargaining, right to work, I think those are things that we'll deal with down the road.
As you know, this weekend, President-elect Trump said on Twitter there would be, quote, consequences and retribution to American businesses if they move jobs and build plants in other countries, possibly a stiff tax or a tariff on those products. I understand the goal here is to try to keep jobs in America, but why would Mr. Trump think that would be sound economic policy?
Well, we have to take away incentives from companies that where they have an advantage to go overseas and ship jobs overseas. It doesn't mean we're punishing companies, but what it is saying, look, we're going to do things here in America so that you won't want to leave to go to China or Mexico. So in other words, number one, we need a fair and balanced trade. We don't need, you know, we can talk about free trade, but we need fair trade. We need to make sure that things are being, that the tax on imports is equal to the tax on exports. And so part of the problem is that we have all the punishment going out and none of the punishment coming in. Second thing is that we need to do is repatriation. We need to bring trillions of dollars that's sitting overseas back into America, and the third thing is to lower the rate that businesses are paying across America. And so in other words, instead of paying 35% of taxes to the government, if we lower the rate down to 20 or 15, companies won't want to leave this country, and that's what President-elect Trump is talking about.
But as you know, even House Speaker Paul Ryan has said in the past, you know, government shouldn't be in the business of picking winners and losers. Doesn't that do that with this type of policy?
No, that's a different program. And what we're talking about here is fair trade. In other words, if we want to ship a tractor to China, we shouldn't allow them to tax that tractor at $100,000 or $1 million, and then we bring in that same tractor from China at no rate. I mean, why would a company, how can a company compete with that program? And that's what we're talking about. It's just fair trade with our friends overseas, and I think everyone can agree with that. We want to be the party for the American worker. It's about time that people that work every day and skilled labor get taken care of, and we're going to be that party, and President Trump is going to be that president.
Give me a sense here in these final seconds what your #1 task will be as Chief of Staff in the White House in will it be trying to keep Donald Trump on task and perhaps off Twitter?
No, I think it's just a matter of an advisory and a role in the White House and making sure that things are being done properly, and really it's an advisory, it's what they call care and feeding of the president, taking care of the president, feeding the president the right information, making sure the right people are before him, before he makes decisions, and then supporting the decisions that he makes.
Chairman Priebus, thank you very much for making time for us.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back.